Hey everybody, it's Amanda. It is time for December's Q&A. And you might notice I have some new art behind me. That is because my daughter asked for canvases and paints for Christmas. And so yesterday she sat down and the first painting she ever did was this one, followed by this one. And yeah, so she's 9 and I think they're just beautiful. So I wanted to put them in my video for this month. Anyway, yeah, my middle son has already claimed this one, so I don't get to have it. Okay, so questions for this month. The first is about cryptocurrencies, which I think I answered in my one of my prediction videos, either the 10-year or the one for 2020. But what I didn't answer was which one, and I had to go and look at what some different ones were because I'm not really familiar with anything, but I've heard of Bitcoin and that's it. And if I don't have the information in my head, there's nothing for me to associate anything with. I would just be, be like pantomime or something, them trying to get through what some kind of metaphor or something what the name would be. Anyway, so I'm going to check real quick and see if I can get a name of which one to invest in. But I will tell you that when I was looking through the names, the EOS one stood out. I don't know if that's why or not, but I'll check. As always, if you want to take a deep breath with me while I check back in, and I will see about which one or ones of the cryptocurrencies that might be a good idea to invest in. This is maybe not what you're looking for, but they're saying different ones will be better suited to different people, and that what you have to do is use your instinct. Just take, if you're looking at a list or you're thinking about something, take a deep breath, get heart centered, and think of the different ones you're considering investing in or buying. And you're going to have to go with which one feels right, and it's going to be different for different people because different people will invest or buy at different times, and it will be to their advantage to do so at specific times for them, if that makes sense. It's kind of like the stock market. Different people are going to be inspired to buy different stocks, and if you're heart-centered and not well, you just have to be heart-centered. It has to be with the best positive intentions that you do this, and then you will pick the one or ones that are best for you in particular. It does look like Bitcoin is still good if you can afford it. There's whatever's the third top one. I can't see the name. It's not the Ethereum or whatever that one's called. It's the one right after those two. So maybe the third one on the list, or the third top. If you got the top three, and one is Bitcoin, one's, I can't remember if it's called Ethereum or something like that. Whatever the third most popular one is, looks like a good one. I'm asking why that's a good one. It's the energy behind it. It's not about whether the value is going to improve or whether it's going to have staying power and be widely used, more widely used. It's the energy behind it. That's all I got. Okay, next question. What is the purpose of childhood emotional neglect in the human experience? How many people are affected by it, and how many are consciously aware that they are affected? I'm just going to direct channel what they're saying. You are none of you truly emotionally neglected, because all of you in childhood are still connected to that part of you that knows you are part of the all, a part of source. However, you can become convinced by the game, so to speak, that you are separate, that you have anything to fear. Generally speaking, there is no purpose per se other than experiencing the human condition or the human aspect, the physical in this particular dimension or earth habitat. And we would say those unaware of childhood emotional neglect would be those also unaware that they are a part of the all, that we are all connected, that we are all love and light, but there is never truly any separation. And so we see the awakening of the masses as a cure-all to so many ailments, diseases, emotional traumas. Because when you realize who you really are, that this is simply a role you're playing, then no amount of neglect need interfere with your existence any longer. It is a complex discussion of why the earth go within and reconnect, or you are always connected, so reestablish your connection with your divine self, your higher aspect, and that which is always connected to the whole and always connected to everyone around you, everyone everywhere, and even beings outside of the earth experience, of course. When you go within and connect to that feeling of wholeness, then any childhood emotional neglect is irrelevant. And even better, if you can hold this connection that you go within and tap into in your non-meditative moments, in your walking around moments, that is ideal. And ending not just the trauma of childhood emotional neglect, but any trauma and all illness, and all suffering. And they could go on and on about that. Whew. Okay. What's the best way to clear energetic, emotional ties with past intimate partners? That's a good one. I bet a lot of people want to know that. First, know that all interactions serve as learning. And we would challenge you to try to find the best learned lessons from any interaction, any relationship. For example, not just what you do not want, as in a narcissistic type relationship, or any other negative polarity based relationship, but an aspect you see in the other, such as an understanding of their worth, or their willingness to listen, or their willingness to discuss things. There's always an aspect of every relationship that is positive and that you take away a benefit from. And so, first, we would recommend that you honor the positive takeaways from any interaction. However, as you are connected to everyone and everything in reality, when you are with another being for any extended time or any intense experience, there is an energetic mixing, so to speak. And so you can do any type of ritual to return their energy to them and reclaim your energy that you left with them. This could be cutting of cords, burning ceremony, visual, mental, an avatar. Create an avatar in your mind of that person, have a discussion, ask or offer to return their energy to them, ask for yours and receive it gratefully. Any of these things will work. It is your intention to, this is a good way to not be influenced, so to speak, by what they do, what they think, what you do, and what you think. This reminds me of like whenever you break up with somebody, or, you know, it's a jointly agreed thing, you've broken up, and you start getting interested in somebody new, and your ex will like call you the second you're like on, you meet them on a date or something like that. It's like somehow they know that you're there with somebody new, you know, and they call you. or you're inspired to call them and it just so happens that they're with somebody else, whatever. That's funny. Anyway, so that sounds pretty cool. Where am I? Let's see. Let me go to one of Jill's. I'm wondering about earthing, grounding. Since the earth is raising its frequency, is it beneficial to practice earthing in a sense that we would be more aligned with that frequency, perhaps helping our physical bodies to adjust? I would say they always talk about going outside. And I have seen this, and I'm sure I've talked about it or channeled about it, but there's like this unseen energy that ties everything together. But when you go outside, it's really prevalent. Like you're in it. You're in the energy of all of the plant life and all the energetic stuff that is out in nature. And when we come inside, I mean, a little of it comes in with us, but being out in it, it's like being out in the wind, only you can't feel it. Well, I mean, I guess some people, if you're energetically if you can sense energy, then you could, but I can't feel it. I just know that it's there because I've seen it in my mind's eye. And then I saw another thing. It was an article about a study they did on green light reducing chronic pain. So it'd be like the equivalent of going outside and walking around in nature, all the green, and probably I would think blue too because of the sky and the water. But anyway, the article was about green and how just sitting in front of a green light in a dark room for an hour reduced migraines and chronic pain in people. So, I mean, I think there's scientific proof that yes, going out in nature does do something beneficial for us physically, definitely. 100%. I don't think I need a channel on that. I've had some information on that before. I had another one from Jill. No. All right. Question about how to know when you're receiving guidance from your guides, especially if you aren't clairaudient, clairvoyant, etc. I know I've done some channeling, but let me see if I can get them to sort of pull it all together. Well, first, I just want to say, I just advise people go with your even if you think you're imagining it, it's just like hypnosis. Even if you think you're imagining it, once you get rolling with just letting the information come through, just saying whatever you're thinking, once you practice doing that again and again and again and again, eventually you're going to get something that did not come from your imagination. Like, for instance, I used to think they were making up words because I'd never heard them before. But when I would look them up, I would realize, oh, that's an actual word. That's an actual thing. They do sometimes make up words too. But anyway, so first would be, this, even if you think you're making it up, just roll with it and just practice just letting whatever pops into your mind just come through, whether you're typing or writing or talking. If you could talk to a recorder for an hour, just close your eyes, center yourself, and just talk for an hour, I guarantee there's going to be something in that hour of talking that came from your guides. And I'm pretty sure if you listen back to it, you will be able to recognize what came from them. What's the wisdom coming through you? I mean, you're a part of it. You're a part of the creation of it. So it is going to be part you. You're connected to them. You're linked to them. So at first, you may have to sort of translate what's popping up, or at first you may just get stuff that's just in your subconscious that's coming up that needs to be expressed. But eventually, you are going to link up, and it's going to come through you. And it's not always that it's just channeled directly from them. it is a collaboration. You're a part of it. So, I mean, sometimes it is just direct words from them, but other times um, it's hard to explain. Like you get information through from your guides, and then it's kind of like a mental conversation that happens just split seconds. Um, because it's just a thought, so they something comes through from them, and you have a thought sort of like in a response, and then they clarify your question sort of. So it's like, but it all happens so fast, that you don't realize you don't always realize you're doing it. Yeah. Sorry, reading the questions again. um, yeah, and your intuitions and your instincts are also prompts, and it just depends. If you try really hard, you're less likely to get the information. You've got to relax. You've got to, well, mostly relax. But the other thing is, what I like to do is just focus on the highest, best feeling that I can conjure at any given time. Even when you're in a bad mood, if you could just think of something that made you happy, or somebody you really love, or someone who really loves you, or a really comforting moment. Um, Anything like that to put you in a space where you're more likely to receive um, inspired thoughts, or words that just pop into your mind, or ideas or concepts that just pop into your mind. Um, I think this is why grieving people are like, the only ones that can't get messages right away from their loved ones who've died. But then other people start, oh, I had a dream about so and so, and oh, I saw so and so, like whatever. And the person that loves them the most is like, well, why don't I get to see them? Why wouldn't he or she show themselves to me? Well, it's because you're not in a very receptive space. That's not always true. I think if you if you're of a state of mind where they're still there, you're still connected to them, and even though you're sad, you can still, stuff can come through. But anyway, getting off topic, but um, yeah, the way I do it and the way I started was just start believing everything you get is true. You don't have to tell other people about it, but just start collecting all the information, and then you can sort of judge for yourself what you believe is guidance. The other thing about guidance is it's usually, I can't think of a time when it wasn't positive and loving. um, they don't normally say stuff like, random stuff like, go run out in your front yard right now, or anything, like that wouldn't be something that my guides would tell me to do, probably because they know I'd be like, what? I'm not doing that. um, but I have gotten little impulses that say, once I was lost on a road, I thought I'd taken the right road, but then I just drove and drove and drove, and I was like, I think I better turn around. And I got a little nudge that said, no, stay on this road, and when there's a fork, turn left, which I thought, that's weird. Why would I think that? But there was a fork right over the hill, and I went left, and I ended up right where I was supposed to be. It was weird. Um, anyway, random off topic, but just start believing everything. Start talking, start writing it down, connect to your highest, best feeling. How do we know it's them? They're not likely to say really bizarre things right off the bat. It often sounds like it's just you talking to yourself in your head. Do it anyway. If you haven't read or heard about Conversations with God, the first book, I read it in like 1997. And the whole beginning of that was the guy who wrote it, Neil Donald Walsh, he was just so frustrated with his life. He couldn't get anything to go right, and he was just fed up, and he sat down to write a letter to God, and he just started writing, why this? And then he just wrote the answer. And before you know it, he's just like receiving all this wisdom from who he considers God or source or whatever you want to call it. And there's, do it like that if you need to. Write it down, talk, and don't judge what you get. Even if you know you're making it up, don't judge, just keep doing it, because eventually you'll get to a place where the guidance comes in and it's guidance. Just practice. Even if you only do it once a week. That's how I started channeling. I just started practicing once a week, and it seemed ridiculous. Some of the stuff that I was getting just seemed ridiculous at first, but I just kept doing it, and it didn't make sense to me, and I just ignored the fact that it didn't make sense, and I kept doing it. Did I tell anybody about it? Not really. But eventually you just get to a point where and you trust it. So I hope that helped. All right, I think that's going to have to be all for this time. I will put a January one. I still have to do personals, but they will be trickling out this week and next week before the end of the year. And I hope everybody had a good Christmas, and I hope everybody has a great New Year's, and whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate, I hope you're doing well. And yeah, I'll catch up to you guys soon. I have that book giveaway to do, so watch for that in January as well. Much love. Talk to y'all later. Bye.